If you are clicking the connect button on LinkedIn and waiting for a miracle, you are already losing. Most students treat networking like a lottery. They press buttons and hope. Today, I'm showing you the exact 200 character note that stops the scroll and actually gets people to reply. If you don't want to guess what to write, I've already done the work for you. We have a cold outreach template that breaks down the exact scripts that I used to get coffee chats when I was recruiting. It's the first link in the description below. Grab it for free. My name's Nate. I'm a non-target grad who had zero family connections in finance. I got ghosted by Deloitte for a junior year internship after a year of prep, but by using the strategy I'm about to show you, I landed a senior associate level role that required 3 to 5 years of experience in the job description right after graduation. Let's go back to my senior year winter break. I was panicked. I had just spent my entire junior year thinking I was a lock for Deloitte. I was part of their consulting mentorship program. I won 4th place in their Salesforce challenge, collecting over 200 trailhead badges. I participated in many boot camps. Even half of my connections on LinkedIn were from Deloitte. I thought I did everything right. And when I applied, rejected, no interview, ghosted. It felt like my whole world had shifted. I'd put all my eggs in one basket and had no other backup options. I realized that submitting resumes into the void was a broken game. I'd shifted my focus from consulting to wealth management, and I started researching local RIAs and sending tons of cold messages. At first, it was brutal. I got ghosted more times than I can count. But then I tweaked my approach. I stopped asking for jobs and started building relationships. That shift is how I heard about a senior associate role at BNY Dreyfus through a grapevine of referrals, a role that I was unqualified for on paper, yet still landed. It's how I got an email from a Goldman recruiter inviting me to interview after networking with an associate. The secret wasn't my GPA, it was how I started the conversation. Most of you are using LinkedIn like Tinder. You're swiping right on everyone, hoping that someone, anyone, will swipe back. You're sitting there thinking, why do I have 500 plus connections, but 0 interviews? Back in my sophomore year, I used to spam the connect button too. I thought I was doing the right thing because I was even using the add a note feature. After every Deloitte Zoom session that I went to, I would literally screenshot the attendees, find them on LinkedIn, send them a connection request, and then send them a note saying, hey, I saw you at this event as well. What did I end up with? About 800 connections while barely knowing my so-called network. My feed was flooded with notifications from people I didn't know, didn't really care about, and hadn't even spent 5 minutes conversing with. That's when I knew something had to change. If you don't actually know the people in your network, your connections on LinkedIn are just a vanity metric. It's exactly like how stupid it is to boost your followers on Instagram just for some clout. It does you no good. So the way to fix this is to stop sending empty connection requests, especially to people who you don't know. When a banker or a recruiter sees an empty connection request with no note, what do they assume? They typically assume that you're a taker, someone who wants to extract value without giving any. When I get empty connection requests from people I don't know, there's like a 90% chance that I'm gonna ignore it or even decline it. You have to use the add a note feature. It's the only way to separate yourself from the thousands of other desperate students in their inbox. Also, it's just a great way to inform the other person and respect their time. If you aren't adding a note, don't bother clicking connect, but you have to know what to say. You have less than the space of a tweet to change your career trajectory. I know what you're stressed about. What can I possibly say in such a short message that actually matters? LinkedIn gives you 300 characters to add a note. This is not a cover letter. This is not where you tell your whole life story. This is an elevator pitch. You need to follow the season and seer framework. Most students make the exact mistake that I did when sending a note with their connection request. Their message is bland provides no details, and doesn't inspire any action out of the person that you're connecting with. That's how you end up with 500 plus connections, but a dead network filled with people who will never help you. That's where the season and sear framework comes in. The seasoning is providing value or establishing common ground. You never throw a steak into a pan unseasoned. You have to add flavor first. So in your note, maybe compliment one of their recent posts or mention the alumni connection that you guys have. That is the seasoning that makes them want to take a bite. Here is where you have to prove that you did some individualized research and you didn't just copy and paste this message to the prior 50 people. And next comes the sear, which is your call to action. Once it's seasoned, you apply heat. You don't ask weak questions like, can I pick your brain? You sear it with a specific time-bound request, like, do you have 15 minutes on Thursday or Friday? Most students serve unseasoned raw chicken in the DMs. You need to season before you sear. Flattery gets you nowhere. Specificity gets you everywhere. You're probably thinking, I don't know what to say about their work. I don't even understand high finance yet. Let me tell you a story. In college, I used to run a podcast with my coworker. Before we interviewed a guest, we would try our best to do our research, reading their articles or looking at their social media pages. Why? Because if we asked a generic question, we got a generic response. But when we asked a question based on research, their eyes lit up. Treat a coffee chat request like you were preparing for a podcast interview. And I'll be honest, a lot of times we were just interviewing our coworkers whom I barely knew or some of our friends. So it wasn't really the easiest to come with well-researched and well-prepared questions. But I will say that by being genuinely curious about the other person and asking questions based off of their interests or expertise, you can connect with a person almost instantly. So before you type a single word, check their activity section. Did they post about a recent market trend? Did their firm just close a merger? Use that. Check their experience section. Do they have any interesting prior roles? Were they part of the same student orgs on campus that you are? Even better. Here's the exact script that you can steal. Hey Alex, fellow Temple student here. Saw you were also part of the OWL Fund and now work in wealth management. Would love 15 minutes to ask how you broke in if you have time on Thursday or Friday afternoon. Thanks, Nate. Why it works. It proves that you guys have some common ground. It provides them an opportunity to give back to the next generation of students, and it shows that you've done your homework. That gets a reply. And if you're connecting with someone you have less in common with, hi John, fellow Temple student here. Saw your recent post on the PNC merger. Fascinating take on the debt structuring. Would love 15 minutes next week to ask how you're navigating the current rates environment in your role. Thanks, Nate. This one yet again shows that you've done your homework, proves that you're keeping up with markets, and also strokes their ego professionally since you complimented their work. It's a million times better than, can I pick your brain, or just wanted to connect. Now that you know how to write the message, you need to know who to send it to. You don't want to waste these credits on people who won't help. So watch this video next on how to find the right alumni to network with, or if you want me to personally review your outreach and recruiting strategy, book a call with me, second link in the description below. Let's cook. See you over there.